Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing amazing. Welcome back to Thrive with Liv P. So guys, today I actually want to bring you not the greatest news. There's been a couple people who have passed on that I wanted to mention here on my channel. The first one is Shannen Doherty. She was in 90210, Heathers, the movie. She was also in Charmed, which I loved. I loved Charmed, and she was just an activist for so many things. She loved horses. I actually started to listen to her podcast. About maybe a couple months ago. I started listening to her podcast because I knew she had cancer. And she pretty much said she has stage 4 cancer. And I decided to listen to her podcast because her podcast, instead of writing a book, she said she wanted to do a podcast. So I started listening to it, and I've listened to every episode so far. And let me tell you, her podcast was really, really, really good. And it was just to me, it was a good thing to do because it's good to get to know, somebody who is suffering with cancer and just the ins and outs of it, and to see how she feels going day to day. I actually thought that to be honest, I thought that she was going to be going on for at least another 5 to 10 years, to be honest. I thought she was going to make it to like 70, 80 years old, to be honest. The way she sounded on the podcast, she didn't sound like she was at the end or anything. So I believe, and I did listen to her last podcast. It was about a week ago. I think it was last Monday. And she, one of the podcasts that she did, I think she did sing a little, she didn't sing as optimistic as she did before, but she still sounded upbeat. And the way that she looked at life, I think, is something that we all should kind of learn from. The way she looked at life was kind of beautiful, the way she looked at things, because she was a fighter. She was not giving up. And I believe even unto the last breath, she was fighting. I believe that. Just judging from listening to her podcast for the last couple of months, I definitely think she was just fighting all the way. I believe that it was a very quick thing that happened because, like I said, the last podcast she did was about a week ago, and she sounded strong. I think she had one of her co-stars, Holly Marie Combs, on there. I think that was the last podcast that she did. That was her charmed co-star, and and they sounded pretty good. Cancer is strange because some people, they are living with it, and they are, they're able to walk around and talk and be fine for, at least, kind of look fine. And then there's some people who will be bedridden for months. So I'm actually glad that she wasn't one of those people who were bedridden for months, because that can be extremely hard. Just to let you know, that can be extremely hard to be bedridden. And she has such a youthful spirit and such a infectious spirit as well. There's also some other passings that happened over the weekend as well. Richard Simmons, I'm sure most of you know who he is. He from the 80s, he was one of those exercise gurus. He did a lot of exercises and stuff, and he had he was looked like a fun type of personality. And in the last couple of years of his life, he was very reclusive, and he didn't really get out a lot. He hadn't been seen in a long time, and but now we know for sure he has passed on. And also Dr. Ruth, she was a psychologist that dealt with sexuality, and she was a S doctor apparently. And that was interesting because she was an older lady, and she didn't look like the type of person you would think would be and what do you call, what is her title? S therapist, I guess you can call it. But either way, she passed on, but she was well in her 80s or 90s or something, so she had a long life, and she will be missed, right? But it hits my heart a different way for Shannen Doherty, who is she was 53, I think she was, which means she could have lived another 50 years, guys. I mean, people are living to over 100 nowadays. So it hits me harder with Shannen, to be honest. But it is what it is. She has passed on, and I'm sure a lot of you have watched her on 90210 and Charmed, which were her two biggest shows that she was on. And also from 90210, Luke Perry, he had passed away a few years ago. He was on that show. He was also on Riverdale, which I actually I like to watch Riverdale as well. I don't know if any of you know that show, but it's like the version. It's a version of the Archie comics, a real version of Archie comics characters. So that's Riverdale, and he was in that. He was Archie's dad, Luke Perry. So a lot of he was a teen idol in the 90s, and also Shannon's a teen idol as well. So they died pretty young. He was also, I don't know how old he was. He was either maybe in his 50s. Yeah, he was in his 50s or 40s, late 40s, something like that, when he passed a few years ago. So two people from the Beverly Hills 90210 franchise have passed on. It's interesting because I do listen to the Beverly Hills 90210 Listen Back podcast. They listen to it. So I'm interested to see what Tori Spelling and Jenny Garth are gonna, what they're gonna, I want to see what they're gonna say about this, because I usually listen to their podcast as well. So it's sad. This is a sad thing that happened here, because she had a lot more living to do, I think. Richard Simmons he was like in his 70s or 80s or something. So he lived a good life, a good long life. And also Dr. Ruth, she also lived a good long life. Shannen, I feel a little different because, she was 53. So she could have lived another 30, 40, 50 years even. Yeah. And, I just wanted to give you guys some of that news. Not the best news, but it is what it is. This is life. Life goes on. It's a circle. Yeah, life is a circle. It's called the circle of life. And that's just how it is. And just, I'll leave it at that. That's just some stuff that I wanted to talk about and get off my chest. And anyways, guys, I will talk to you guys in the next one. If you have somebody in your family who is going through any illnesses or anything, do remember to always talk to them, hug them, kiss them, all that stuff. Even if all your family members, always remember, and your friends, remember to hug them and kiss them. You never know when you're not going to see them again. So just remember that. Anyways, guys, I'll talk to you in the next one. Have a great one, guys. Bye.